Hi, my name is Schneider. I'm going to be giving a presentation on the Internet of Things for ITM 2000. So let's get started. Uh, First, let's consider the turbulent and ever-changing business environment we find ourselves in today. Technology and innovation are rapidly becoming more essential and a cornerstone of the global marketplace. The Internet of Things, aka IoT, as I will refer to it in this presentation, and what supports it is this at the center of all of this. To put IoT simply, it is the interconnectivity between devices that collect and transmit data through the use of the internet. This new tech includes devices that we use every single day without even realizing their overarching implication. Think about this example. When you wake up in the morning, your alarm on your Apple Watch goes off, which you set on your iPhone the night before. You're able to check your calendar, which was originally inputted off of your laptop. Maybe after you go for a run and use your heart monitor and GPS on your Apple Watch, which transmits info to your health and fitness application, which analyzes your body health and fitness progress. All of these things rely on and are connected by the cloud network that makes all of this possible. Overall, Internet of Things is an exciting concept that fuels our day-to-day lives with efficiency and connects us to the world. So first, we're going to overview what we're going to talk about today. The first thing we're going to hit upon is what is IoT? Why is it important? Then we're going to talk about the business implications and the trends in the current applications and technology that are changing the market as we speak. Looking forward, how is it changing? What are the developments and trends in the Internet of Things that are coming in the future? And then finally, I think the most interesting portion will be current events. So we're going to touch upon two separate examples of businesses that are at the forefront of the Internet of Things tech today. A brief history of the IoT technology. Our first introduction to the Internet of Things happened in the late 70s with the creation of the ATM, which is considered the very first IoT device. But by 2008, there were more Internet of Things devices than humans on the planet. And by 2015, there was a dramatic 223% increase in wearable device purchases, meaning Apple Watches and Fitbits, so really hands-on IoT devices. This all implies the rapid growth that the Internet of Things technology saw since it first began in the 70s. And interestingly enough, it actually wasn't a coined term until 2009 when Kevin Ashton came up with the word, the Internet of Things, in the ARFID journal. We can see that 20 years from now, there's a projected $10 to $20 trillion growth in the global GDP of Internet of Things technology and devices. So now that we've discussed some major historical landmarks in IoT, it's important to get down to what actually comprises the term. So how does IoT work and what is it? IoT is basically the concept that any device can be connected to the internet to relay information and data between devices, customer and seller, or a device and outside application, all automatically. This is done by way of Wi-Fi, wireless connectivity, cloud platforms, sensors, and various other new and developing forms of tech that make data collection and transmission faster, easier, and more accurate. It's important to note that every IoT device requires a unique identifier, such as an ARFID tag, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And these allow the devices to be identifiable and unique in the overarching Internet of Things ecosystem. The data that is collected by an IoT device is used in several ways. To name a few, improving the products, increasing the efficiency for users, and device-to-device communication without human prompting, which is the most sophisticated and kind of newest form of IoT tech. Another major cornerstone of what IoT is this concept of the physical meeting the digital. These devices are merging the physical and digital worlds by increasing the proportion of devices that are consuming, generating, and communicating data via the internet to improve our daily lives and the products we use. So there's three main types of IoT relationships that we should take note of: person to things, and thing to things. Person to person is what you would think it is, interacting with another person via your device that's connected to the wireless network. So me texting someone using either a messaging app or the messaging system in your cell phone or your smartphone. Uh, Person to thing is a person utilizing their device to connect to a device. So, house security systems that you can access via your laptop or cell phone when you're away from the house to ensure that everything's running smoothly, check the video feeds, make sure your house is armed, or disarm it if you wish to. The final and most turbulent kind of up and coming area of this is thing to thing. Data relationship between two connected devices via cloud technology without any human involvement. This is basically the idea that two devices can communicate and learn from one another via the Internet of Things network. So this is companies working in this field, developing tech for this field, are really at the forefront of Internet of Things technology. So we're going to move on to the business context. Contrary to its prevalence in our lives and in business, the term Internet of Things has about an estimated 87% complete unfamiliarity recognition amongst Americans as of 2016. But as the Internet of Things takes a stronger hold in the market, the term should become less and less unfamiliar because it's going to be unignorable because it's such a massive part of our day-to-day lives. We're going to break down three trends in the business context that are important to note for this understanding the Internet of Things. Firstly, more and more businesses are coming out with smart products. Originally, smart products were in regular tech like smartphones and laptops. But rapidly, this innovation has shifted into more and more markets, including Samsung's recently released futuristic smart fridge, which can tell you what's in the fridge, expiration dates of those items, as well as compiles recipes and schedules, or the smart TV, which includes all of your streaming platforms, Spotify, YouTube, workout videos, and even sleep timers. And both of these devices can be connected to your cell phone, and you can access and control these devices via your phone through the wireless Internet of Things access. The second major trend in business will be the Internet of Things is changing the way businesses make decisions. The days of managers and CEOs using their quote unquote gut to make major decisions is gone. Car companies is a great example, and they're using IoT to record data in their already launched vehicles to provide data analytics to improve future production decisions. Another really excellent example is IBM. IBM recently launched this comprehensive cybersecurity system that will connect their company with other major companies so they can learn from other cyber attacks as well as protect themselves with a new built-in 911 program that relays step-by-step protocol in the case of a breach and will relay that breach information back to the headquarters so they can figure out what went wrong and then relay it back to other companies. This is a major trend because cybersecurity is a huge issue within the world of the Internet of Things. So this development of Watson is a big deal. Our third and final trend we're going to talk about in the business context is the transformation of business models. So firstly, it's kind of a two-part. You'll see as the Internet of Things continues, certain services and products are being pushed to obsolescence as tech takes over, most often intermediary roles. A really great example of this is travel agents. who are being primarily replaced by applications that can analyze an individual's preferences, financial parameters, hotel and flight data to optimize a trip that is low cost at the push of a button. It just doesn't make sense to take the time and spend the money on a travel agent when there's applications out there that can do it for you instantly, accurately, and efficiently. Another kind of subset of this trend is the rebranding and redeveloping of core businesses. We're going to look at John Deere, for example. John Deere has entered the realm of selling data just as much as they sell farming products, as they continue to roll out data collecting and analyzing farm devices. So they have accumulated such large caches of data based upon their own IoT devices that they're able to actually sell this data. And it's valuable information for other farming companies and agriculture companies. This ultimately means that every business can expect. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to read this quote. This quote, I think, really encapsulates the importance of what we've just said here as far as how the business realm is changing. It's not just about what kind of products you can make smart or how information could impact your business efficiencies or how you might sell that data to customers and partners. The Internet of Things represents a fundamental tilt in the lens through which we view the world. This ultimately means that every business can expect to be affected by the Internet of Things and will not slow down anytime soon. Just like you can't imagine going back to a flip phone after enjoying the efficiency of a smartphone, business productivity will not digress back to the days of guessing their consumers' wants and needs. When you have solid data analysis to provide you concrete answers and concrete decisions. So our next section is how IoT is changing. But before we talk about how it's changing, we're going to briefly look at what is the Internet of Things as of today. So currently, the Internet of Things physical technology is comprised of two core parts. The most common form of IoT is the RFID tag. Objects using IoT need to be augmented with an auto ID technology, typically an RFID tag, so that they can be uniquely identifiable. These tags allow the object to wirelessly communicate certain types of information. And additionally, RFIDs are very inexpensive, which make them widely accessible to a large variety of people. In companion with the RFID are sensors, which are slightly more sophisticated devices that are apt at measuring and interpreting the data. So if RFID collects the data, the sensor can interpret and measure that data. Sensors and other external gathering devices are the driving force of sophisticated analysis and the entire Internet of Things ecosystem. The accuracy of these sensors that measure various things such as geospatial proximity, acceleration, temperature, and motion is a really competitive field of development that will ultimately set apart leaders in the in the Internet of Things technology. So companies that are doing the best at this and are really innovating in this area are the ones that are going to go the farthest and make the biggest impact, which we will see with our examples at the end of this presentation. So all of this is kind of comprised into the Internet, sensors, and RFID. And they culminate into this overarching Internet of Knowledge that is at the heart of the Internet of Things. So as we look towards IoT in the future, as it develops, it's becoming more and more centered around the Internet of Things that matter, meaning the data sharing that is meaningful and significant to our businesses and lives. Just insurmountable amounts of data are being collected. So this new idea of the IoT that matters is IoT that's actually going to have a positive effect and a meaningful effect on the world. So IoT tech companies are looking forward are focusing in on making the world safer, smarter, and more efficient through merging of OT, operational tech, and the IT, informational tech. The goal here is just to create innovative global solutions, and that has a lot to do with this IoT that matters, really separating the important information. Furthermore, billions of Internet of Things sensors, mobile devices, and connected machines are generating innumerable amounts of data that are fostering the continued development and the convergence of this physical and digital types of technology. As data analytics, storage, and ITM solutions are becoming the key to processing this continuous stream of contextual data and turning it into something usable that can support innovation and discovery. And furthermore, data that is efficiently stored and sorted can be used to optimize decision making, business operations, and fully integrated data analytics that provide the Internet of Things minded individuals and corporations an insurmountable competitive advantage. So, furthermore, with this future of IoT that we see, the trends we see developing and the things that are happening with IoT tech are increased accessibility, meaning IoT is becoming more and more accessible as our culture morphs into one that sees smart and connected technology as a staple of our communication and day to day technology. By 2020, there should be over 50 billion projected connected devices to the internet, and market projections have reached 195 billion of IoT devices by 2023. As you can see here in this graph, basing in the 2009 inception of IoT, there's been a continuous exponential growth for devices, and as they're becoming more sophisticated, there seems to be an increase of demand. So overall, we can determine that the Internet of Things realm will continue to grow as technology improves. On to our final section, we're going to be discussing current events. So the first current event is Amazon's development of Amazon Go, which first came about a couple of years ago, but it's really kind of making headway as they begin kind of pulling it out into the rest of the country and really developing this platform. Amazon launched the concept of Amazon stores that couples sensors, machine learning, and cameras to make grocery shopping theft-free, till-free, and entirely futuristic. Customers use their Amazon app while in the Amazon Go store, and artificial intelligence combined with the Internet of Things sensors within the store will allow the system to sense when you pick up, put back, and ultimately leave with your chosen items and charge you through the app. Amazon Go currently exists in select parts of the West Coast, including Seattle, which is where Amazon is headquartered, but they're beginning to move these Amazon Go stores throughout universities, as well as opening one in Chicago, Illinois, which is my hometown, which is very exciting. And as you can see, there is a trend towards people being interested in shopping with Amazon Go, but they're still experiencing some issues with convincing people that this is a preferred form of shopping. Although Amazon remains enthusiastic that consumer acceptance will continue to grow as consumers become more accustomed with this entirely technological IoT way of shopping. And overall, I think it's a really interesting tech development because it represents a new age of AI and Internet of Things technology, while at the same time, we should take into consideration the threat to entry-level positions in the labor market it could have, as it eliminates a lot of jobs in customer service and jobs that unskilled workers would typically take. So our second current events area will be Tesla and their electronic smart cars. Tesla, which was founded in 2003, has long been at the forefront of the Internet of Things. A couple years ago, they launched over-the-air technology, which was never before seen thing-to-thing IoT tech that analyzes the performance of the vehicle and attempts to fix any problems in real time while still relaying that information back to the Tesla headquarters so they can analyze it and improve their existing products. Additionally, Tesla has incorporated several forms of IoT tech in their first available to the consumer market self-driving cars, which can sense your location, identify your most frequented destinations, and provide you with entirely hands-free driving, which is completely space age, completely new to the market as we see it today. Although these vehicles are starting at 70,000, which makes them mostly inaccessible, Tesla is experiencing some problems with these vehicles as they have hiccups in the production. But with over-the-air technology, they're anticipated to innovate them until they become fully operational. And as they become fully operational, the demand may increase, which will lead Tesla to opening up their production, which will eventually lower costs and allow more people to purchase it, and other companies will follow suit. And you can see this as kind of the future of transportation, which is really, really exciting. And as you can see here, Tesla is their two top, their Model S and their Model X um, dominate the vehicle sale shares for the US market of electronic vehicle orders. All right, so conclusions. We're just going to do a quick rundown of what we've talked about today. So, firstly, the history of the Internet of Things. It began in the 70s with the ATM. It was coined in 2009, and between the 70s and 2009, you just saw an explosion of IoT devices, which continues to grow and continues to just increase year by year by year. Secondly, what comprises IoT? We talked about relationships, person to device to device, and the implications of these relationships and how they're developing and improving and just making the Internet of Things more comprehensive and more broadly connectable for the global market. Also, what makes up the core IoT tech, the RFID tags and sensors that both collect data and then measure and interpret said data. Finally, or thirdly, we discussed business and the trends within business, including new markets in smart devices, new ways of making decisions, no longer requiring on quote unquote gut, as well as the changing business environments. And then our final aspect was looking to the future. We are optimistic that IoT is becoming more sophisticated as tech finds increasing ways to connect us and our devices in a smart and efficient manner. And a final consideration, I didn't want to include this in my main presentation, but it's important to note the risks and issues that we face with the Internet of Things developing. We did primarily discuss the benefits, but we should touch upon potential issues faced by the Internet of Things. Implementing these devices in the future is unsure, and what unintended consequences could be that could take place as we implement all of these new devices. Basically, IoT is developing so fast, we don't necessarily know what this level of connectivity could have, and both positive and negative, as well as the most important aspect, security and privacy. Which is really a big concern for a lot of people. As our devices continue to collect data, we have to reinterpret what our privacy means to us as we take into account the risk of hacking and cybersecurity breaches that could result in our personal information, business information, and even government information being compromised. So these are all things we need to consider, but again, as they come up, society and companies will take them into account, and we'll see what happens. All right, thank you so much for listening. I enjoyed making this presentation as much as I hope you